the most part, we're going to keep this uncut, unedited, for the most part, hopefully. But if you haven't watched the first in this two-part series, really not much of a series at all, the first part was pretty much sharing what I think I did well in 2022. What just revelation that changed how I see myself, and more importantly, how God sees me. I don't know if I necessarily excelled in them, but just coming into the understanding of these things, I think changed my life in 2022, and I think were the fundamental things that I've finally come to my senses about, and it was in 2022, and it was special for me, and I mean, yeah, life-changing, I think. So I guess this video will be my weaknesses or things that I prayerfully would like to be better at, or be more refined in this new year, in this coming new year. And the first off the top of my head that I can sort of riff off of, one of the points from the last video, the first part in this two-part series, or this two-parter, was the role of the woman, my place as the weaker vessel, my place as now being a mother and being a wife. It's obviously not the way that the world paints those roles to be. But if you know me, and if you know a bit about my history as far as how I was raised and who I was raised by, you would say that the way that the world is going about feminism and womanhood, relating that to the way that I was raised, you would think that it would make sense, because I was only ever raised by women, obviously with on the Lord's side with this, and obviously not giving lordship to the culture and giving lordship to the way culture paints these roles. And at the root of it, it's the prince of the air, it's the enemy, and men in their fallen human nature, the way that they love to, build these golden calves and exalt all the lesser things and all the created things above the creator. This is part of the reason why we are where we are right now in this feminist movement. Now, there's a difference between being feminist and feminine, which I am. I am feminine. I'm not a feminist. I don't comply with women empowerment. I don't agree with the fact that I used to agree with this before, because I thought, yeah, it just makes sense. Like, women can do what men do. Women don't need men for anything. Women don't need to have children if they don't want to have children. Women don't. Women can, women can. And now coming into this revelation of, this my place and our place as females and as women and as wives and mothers, homemakers if you are one, it's a totally different ballgame. If you have the Lord, if the Lord is the Lord of your life, if Jesus is who he really says, or who you really say that he is in your life, then obviously you're not going to comply, and you're not going to agree and move about and sway from left to right with the wave of the culture. So it just makes sense that obviously that's my stance. But what I pray to improve on more in 2023 is submitting more, is really applying First Timothy, I believe it's chapter 3, either 1, 2, or 3. The writer is expressing and sharing or writing the role of the woman, and he's pretty friggin' blunt. Okay, he's pretty blatantly clear with the role of the woman. And now you would probably hear someone, even in the church, and especially in the church actually, and in the ministry, that will twist and turn and put kind of like, you know how you put bumpers on the corners of tables so that babies don't bang their head or that people don't get hurt, or you put bumpers on sharp corners or sharp edges. That's what we've done to the women in our church, is we've put bumpers on these very harsh, very straight to the point, very clear scriptures. Whoo, come on, Jesus. Wow, that's a revelation if I ever did hear it. We've been putting bumpers on these pretty clear scriptures, you know, to make it softer, to make it more comfortable, to make it, oh no, this is how he really meant it. Oh, but, okay, again, if you're reading scripture, descriptive and prescriptive. For me, personally, I can take that verse or that chapter in First Timothy, one of the chapters, 1, 2, or 3. I will take that as both descriptive and prescriptive. You know why? Because when I hear women on in the ministry today and on national television and on social media, and these little clips of women, you know, giving their hey, howdy, hey encouragement and all that kind of stuff, you know what it's sounding like to me? It's sounding like the world. It's sounding like the 25 or the 23-year-old TikToker who has nothing to do with Jesus, but who's pretty much basically saying the same thing, just adding Jesus and God's name in there. The women in ministry are. Okay? That's scary. And so this is why and you'll probably disagree with me here, but oh my gosh, I'm very careful when I say this, because I don't know who's watching. I don't like women preachers. I said it. I said what I said. I don't. Okay, maybe instead of saying that, maybe I'll just say I prefer men. I prefer men preachers. Not for any stupid carnal reason that you might think, but for the fact that, and not saying that men are perfect, and not saying that men can't, you know, get theology twisted and, you know, that sort of thing. You know, they're not perfect, obviously humans. But when I listen to most of the women, this is where I go. Okay, this is where my mind goes. It honestly sounds like any other TikToker, and not even a Christian TikToker. This 20-year-old girl or this 30-year-old, 40-year-old mama or girl who has nothing to do and wants absolutely nothing to do with Jesus, okay, is sounding more and more, or rather the women in ministry and in church that I hear are sounding more and more and more very, very similar to any TikToker that you hear today. The only thing different, obviously, is the Christian one, the Christian woman. The women in ministry are going to put scriptures. They're going to throw, you know, seasonings in there like scripture and Jesus and God, because that's just what you do as a Christian, right? In the ministry, that's, you know, and you're saying it, I think they say it from a genuine, heartfelt place. When your message starts to sound just as similar to the one in the culture, you got to change your message. You're not adding enough to that message, okay? Or maybe not, maybe adding, maybe you're, yeah, that's essentially the same thing. Yeah, there's something missing there. Okay, there's something missing in your theology. There's something missing in your message. Because I can go to, for goodness sakes, like I can go to any TikTok account, Instagram account, influencer account, and get pretty much the same message that I hear a lot of, let me just say, a lot of preachers, okay? Even men preachers, but honestly, 90% of the time, it's women that I hear in ministry that sounds nearly the same, if not the exact same, as anyone else on social media who aren't even Christian. I just looked at the time. It's 11:50. My vlogmases are getting later and later. The second thing that I want to improve on, I guess, or work on a lot more in 2023 is, I guess these are two in one and two in the same, but being a better homemaker. I'm being a better mom. And specifically in motherhood, I want to be more attentive to my child's needs. I want to be more attentive to her well-being. I mean, I am, but even more so. And the one thing that really keeps me from that is social media, is TikTok. Okay? And this is where I have to be very careful about, because this girl is going to start preschool next year, y'all. I know, I can't believe it either. And so with that will come new emotions, new needs, new desires, new patterns, new routines, new everything. And I know that I'm confident that I'll have the grace, I'm confident that I'll have the grace to parent well, but I am going to be honest. I know, I can tell when my attitude is off. When I spend the whole day just with her, alone with her, okay? Going outside, doing the little things, a pretty substantial, good lunch. Okay, don't judge me, because sometimes I'm just lazy and I just give her snacks or stuff, but I guess that's good enough. But when I really give my all to her, my full attention to her, my mood is totally different. I find joy in the little things, the little chores and all that kind of stuff. I approach these things, even as a homemaker, like chores and like the stuff around the house. I approach them so differently, and it makes sense. And it's a wonder why. It's because I'm not giving my whole time and my whole attention to social media and to TikTok. TikTok really is it. It's Instagram, not so much. But just creating and getting video and getting content, it saddens me too, because I know what I'm doing. I know that my patience is shorter. My patience is shorter. What else? I mean, all of the things is just not, it's not at its best, or my character is not at its best when I give 90% of the time to this, social media, TikTok, and 10% of the time to her. And I'm afraid that I'm screwing it up for myself. And I have screwed it up for myself just a little bit. In 2023, when I'm not going to have her all to myself, and when our time is going to be split even more, is when I'm choosing to try to put more and give her more of my attention. Help me, God. I'm trying now. There's going to be some changes happening in 2023, and changes that you guys actually I haven't told you guys yet, but we're still praying about that, because that's going to be quite the change. She drove me crazy today, y'all. I'm going to confess, and I repent, Lord. She didn't get to nap, and that was my bad. I just haven't had, we're not on the same level with her nap time and with her sleep, and I'm afraid that that's messing with her a lot. And so that's why I want to get her room together and make some changes. But until then, we're still kind of just playing her sleep time by ear. And kids are so different, right? All of these kids are all different. Some of them, you don't have to pay a single thing for any program or any type of sleep training or gentle sleep or whatever else is out there that teaches you on how to sleep, how to get your kids to sleep. The dynamics within families too can be different, because you can have 11 kids and then you have a toddler or a baby, and that toddler or baby, the last one, I feel like can grow to learn and just become accustomed to, no, this is just, I just have a big family, and I know my mommy can't be there for me all the time. So then baby has the 10 other siblings that is split between the time, and then they just learn to fall asleep, and they just learn to do what they got to do to get the rest that they need, because they have to, and because they know that's just the routine. Whereas you have one like this, which is spoiled to the max. No, she's just learning. I understand, she's just learning. And She doesn't quite get it yet, but it's me. It's us. It's the parents. I'm not putting much of any of this on her at all, because I know that it's us. But again, this is our first time ring around the rosy. So the second one, yes, becoming more attentive and more intentional with my mothering and my homemaking. Golly, I want to learn how to knit. I want to learn how to sew. Do I? I do. I want to learn how to do basic things. I want to learn more recipes. I want to be more intentional about, you know, our meal times and our family times. Because guys, this is the thing. None of these things were habits of mine growing up, and on my husband's side either. So we're literally building the foundation of this new type of generational blessing that I want for my kids and for my kids' kids. I think really, if my grandchildren can learn these patterns and these habits and these little times in family that will bring everybody together, and that can create an atmosphere of worship unto the Lord, that'll bring everybody together, that'll bring peace, that'll bring blessing, that'll bring, you know, conversation and confrontation, and that's not normal. That's not normal for me. That's not normal for my husband, and that's why it's so difficult for us to get into the habit of, you know, getting a freaking dining table so we can sit down together and eat dinner together. Never had a dining table. I mean, we had, but never had a dining table where both my parents and I and my siblings sat down on a daily, nightly basis to eat dinner, pray together, talk. No, I did not grow up with that. That's it. That's why it's so difficult for us to get into this habit now, because it's you would think it's so easy. Yeah, let's just get a dining table, let's get chairs, let's build this tradition, but like, I don't know, we just can't get a stinking dining table and get, you know, it's not important to us to get to that because we never had that growing up. And I want to I want to establish those traditions and those habits now, but again, you know, when it's not, I don't feel like he and I have pushed for little things like that, because it was never important to any of us really growing up, in the context of, or in the way of, you know, having genuine family time, like having eye to eye contact when we eat dinner. I mean, not being dramatic about it, or not being, you know, over the top about it, but just having that connection, that family connection. So I'll tell you this, when my husband eats dinner, no talking, he doesn't look at anybody. He just goes to town, and that's it. And then he's done. By the time I'm like halfway through my dinner or halfway through my plate, he's already washing his dishes. He's already washing his dishes, and he's like trying to hurry up. You know, I get it. He's tired and he wants to, you know, he has homework to do. He's in college, so he's got all this, you know, all this schoolwork to get done. And so he's just trying to move on to the next thing. But for me, I'm like, let's take a second, let's slow down. And I kind of have to coach him through that, because I'm still learning it myself. Like, gosh, I want somebody to coach me through this too. And someone is the Holy Spirit. But again, just getting to that point where it's like, it's not really important, but it is important. I want it to be important, but because it was never important to me before, it's very difficult to kick it into gear and get it to be a healthy, family-oriented, family connection type of habit and routine that we get ourselves into, that, I don't know, can bring us closer together and connect us closer than we've ever been before. And that hopefully can be something that my daughter can look to and remember those times, you know, remember the conversations that we've had around the dinner table, and finding little moments and little joys in times like that. My hair is going crazy. Now, last but not least, in addition to the homemaker thing, yeah, just being a lot more clean, stewarding our money well, helping my husband steward our money because he's pretty much, if I'm being honest, he does almost everything. And I hate it because I feel so incapable sometimes. You know, I confess that I love Jesus and I'm crazy about the Bible and theology, but then when it comes to calling someone to pay a bill, I can't even do it. I mean, I can, but I just procrastinate so bad and I put it off, and that's another thing. And so that applies to the homemaker life and caring. God, guys, there's mess everywhere right now. Behind the camera, to the side of the camera, to this side of the camera, okay? On the ground, on my bed. It's in cahoots. Like, I don't think there's anywhere in this house that doesn't have a mess. In that aspect, I want to grow in and I want to be transformed in a little bit. But part of that is investing so much of my time into social media, which is so hard because I love it. And I know that I have the potential to become famous, but at this point I'm like, become famous, oh my gosh, that sounded so corny and cheesy and weird. I know that I have what it takes to see pretty good growth, but I have to stay honest and genuine to what I really love, and that is scripture, and that's my faith. And I'd rather people know me for what I'm genuinely in love with and what I desire now before I become famous, rather than become famous and then when the matters of women's rights, abortion, racism, all of the fundamental things that us as Christians should know our Bible about and should know how to defend the Bible and how to defend the faith when that time comes, I'd rather do it now than compromise my faith in the future after becoming famous. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing all the things now. That's why I'm just like, I see a number of different women who have gone from 0 to how many hundreds of thousands now. You know, they're just doing the thing. They're killing it. But it's high volume consumerism. It's like the women who follow them and the people who follow them, they're just consuming, buy this, buy that, get this, get that, buy this. Oh no, you don't need this, but you do. I don't know. And I don't want to go down that path. I meant to say, I don't want to go down the path of becoming famous or hitting the jackpot, if you will, with followings and followers on social media, and then getting to that point and then, oh, why aren't you saying anything about this Roe v. Wade bill? Why aren't you saying anything about this? Or what do you have to say? Or maybe I do say something and it's stupid and it's against my faith, and then I start deconstructing, or I start, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I'm gonna do the long way around, I guess. I can still be consistent and I can still post what I love to do, but my people are going to know where I come from and my people are going to know what I stand for. And I think that that's why I haven't seen much growth. I mean, I had like a little growth spurt a couple months ago, but now I've pretty much plateaued because I've stepped back from being crazy consistent on TikTok. I saw where I lacked because I would invest all of this time into posting 6, 7, 8 times on TikTok. You know, my Bible study time would take a back burner, and I'm like, I can't take that risk. I'm not going to take that risk. You know, I want to be as Bible smart as much as I can. I want to fall more in love with the presence of God every day as much as I can, and slowly but surely do what I love to do on social media, but not in a way where it's consuming me, and definitely not in a way where it's become an idol. And so that's what I'm being careful of. And so that's why I've kind of kicked it back a little bit on TikTok. And I guess with social media from time to time, I will, you know, not post regularly all the time because of that. Because you just have to know when to draw the line. And I don't care if anybody else, well, I do care. I mean, let's be honest. It kind of sucks. But when I get into the presence, y'all, when I start reading through and dissecting through my Bible, oh man, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is worth it. This is worth my time. You are worth, God, you are worth my time. God, you are worth all of my efforts, all of my dreams, all of my aspirations, all of my goals, all of my desires pale in comparison to the presence, to your presence, to knowing you more through theology, through religion, through holy traditions like this. That's eternal. That's what's storing up for me, okay, in heaven. Thank you very much. And the last one, to work better on in 2023, would probably be relationships and friendships. Because I don't know, y'all, if I had my way, I wouldn't have any friends. I mean, I'm just being honest. I like being alone. I like being by myself. I like being just with my family. And if being a part of the local church wasn't a thing, then I wouldn't be a part of that thing. I would just be, because I like to be that way. I feel like I know I've asked God to help me lean on, to stop leaning so much on even my own having to come out of my comfort zone, and at least according to the culture, at least according to how the culture says it. That's what I was asking God to just get me out of that. Just wash me, just cleanse me of all of that influence, all of that cultural, worldly influence of having to have church folk all the time. Y'all, I'm being real in here, but I'm just like, I could care less. Like, I'm not care less, but I need to be careful about what I say. But honestly, I'm just like, oh no, you really don't get it. Like, that's what I want to say. Like, oh, so you're just here for the, like, shits and giggles. You're, when it's just that kind of fellowship that's kind of over the top, that it's a little bit too much. Like, I'm just like, no, can we just be normal? Like, can we just not always have to feel like we gotta work at this thing? I mean, we do have to work at things, but I think in community sometimes, in fellowship, sometimes in ministry, it just becomes a little bit too much. I'm like, why does everything have to be so churchy? And not that that's bad. That's not bad at all. Like, can we just be normal? Like, I feel like there's always having this feeling of, somebody has to give a prophetic word, or somebody has to pray for some lost sinner, or some sinner out there. There's always this prompting that it has to be done, and if it's not done, then we're not being good Christians. Now, there's a difference between God leading you to pray for somebody and God giving you a word of wisdom, or God giving you a word of knowledge for someone. And yes, obviously you step out in obedience, but even in that, at least you would have the group of friends around you who you could go to for counsel, like really quickly, like, hey, I really think God's telling me to go to this person. And you'll be like, yeah, you do it. If God's telling you to get your butt over there and obey, and obey now, obey quickly, because delayed obedience is disobedience. If I'm sounding very prideful or just like narcissistic or whatnot, I'm not. I've been around a lot of Christians whose theology is just jacked. I mean, they're just like, they're more of one than the other. It's more 90-10. It's like this, but on this side, crickets. Like dry and weary land. And over there, it's just as important. But they're so accustomed and used to this that they give all of their time, all of their effort into this thing because it's external, because this is what people can actually see. But then when it comes to times alone in your home like this, with your dusty old Bible that you probably don't even open anymore because you only use what's on your phone. But then when you go on your phone to use the Bible, you probably get distracted by the Instagram notification, and then next thing you know, 4.5 hours later, didn't even pray. Or maybe you prayed for 5 minutes, but the next thing you know, you've been scrolling on TikTok for the last 2.5 hours. Did I even say what the last one was? The last one, was relationships and giving a little bit more effort into them. Not trying to make like a million friends or anything, but remaining faithful to those who I think are worth the time. Is that bad to say? Is that even biblical to say? Probably not. You know, even in the world, if somebody doesn't show up to work a number of times, you're gonna have to let them go. Like, you're gonna have to fire them. You're not gonna keep going after them, going after them, going after them. It's like if they don't want anything to do with you, then they don't want to have anything to do with you. Oh gosh. I guess that's not even close to relatable to what I'm trying to say. But I think I'm just at a point where as long as you can be honest with me, as long as you can be true to as long as you can treat me like I'm not stupid. As long as you can treat me like someone that you can genuinely trust, and you can genuinely just be like, you can relax your shoulders a little bit, you know, you can exhale, you can just chill, you don't have to put up this front anymore. If that's who you can be with me, I'm there with you, like 100%. Because I'm just not going to deal with the heresy anymore. I'm not going to deal with the fake. I'm not going to deal with the over-the-top, dramatic type of facade that is unbiblical, I think. And not that anybody has to be like me. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, get friends that act like me and be like me, but specifically Christians that you always gotta feel like you have to sit a little taller when Christians come around, or you gotta, you know, you have to act proper, you have to speak proper, and all this kind of stuff. If I just can't be myself, if I just can't be who I am around you, or if I can't just blatantly speak the truth to your face in front of you and you can't handle that, then that's fine. Then go be friends with fake Francine over there. Be my guest. But when you come to me, that's what you're gonna get. Okay? But let me tell you what, I'll go to war with you. I'll go all the way with you. I'll show up at your front door if that is the kind of fellowship and friendship that you really want. If we can't have those hard conversations, if we just can't have dialogue and go back and forth and be honest, then we're gonna have a really hard time being friends. Did I even list what the last one was? I don't even know. But whatever you can take away from that, relationships, that's what I want to work on. Being a better friend, I don't know. Being more likable. I mean, I can throw like a couple other things in there too. You know, my weight and movement, and being better at movement, being better at not being better, but just again establishing these essential fundamental foundations for my family and for the generations that follow me. Now it's so hard. I don't know how you build a house, obviously, clearly I don't, but I will probably go ahead and say that the foundation is obviously the most important. When you have a foundation that's not built sturdy and strong and proper, it's obviously every other part of the house is going to be kind of shaky and has the potential to be destroyed. And so when creating these fundamental foundations, holding to family time, holding to family dinners, holding to friendships and relationships, holding to the woman and the wife and the mother according to the whole Bible, not just certain parts of the Bible, giving myself as a living sacrifice every day to be as near to that and as near to Jesus as I possibly can in those roles. What else did I talk about? Yeah, and with movement and body movement, it's establishing fundamental foundations. That's what I was saying. Establishing those things now as the first time generation, you know, making the initiative to be done of and to be done with and to be rid of these generational curses. Okay, so the generational curses are dealt with. Now it's establishing the generational blessings. And my husband and I are the one that's starting it. And it's stinking hard. It's, oh my gosh, and there's so many of them, you know, I want to start, like I was saying. Movement, family dinners, relationships, friendships, being a wife, being a woman, not, you know, conforming to the culture and to the world, that's all starting with him and me. And it's taking some time. It's taking work. And it'll continue to take time. And it'll continue to take work until the day we die. So, help me, God. Help me, Lord. And if this applied to any one of my friends, if this applied to anyone, to the whoever on the other side of the screen, God, thank you that you're faithful to see us through this, that you're faithful to work with us and work on us if we're willing every single day of our lives, as we yield, as we give ourselves to you, as we give ourselves, as we lay ourselves, as we offer ourselves as living sacrifices, as we offer ourselves, as we offer up to you the sacrifices of thanksgiving. Every single day, you're faithful to show up and you're faithful to show through all that we need, because you're able to meet every need that we have. And so I bless my friend. I'm so thankful, God, for this time, Lord. I'm excited and I wait in earnest, honest, and real, and exciting in great expectation of the more that you have in store for us in 2023. We will believe you even more for the things that we've excelled in from the previous video, for myself, and the things that you really strengthened in us in 2022, as well as the things that we will continue to work on, and that you'll continue to refine in us and work within us in our weaknesses in 2023. That you'll help us get there. As we yield, as we lean, as we trust, as we obey. It's in you that we look to, God, and it's in you that we trust. We love you, Lord. In Jesus' name. Good night, friends.